This video brought to you in part by these fantastic Patreons. Patreons are the lifeblood and the backbone of this channel and help with cool things like the giveaway in the description. But let's get into the video. Greetings and welcome to the channel. I am the Shogun and this is the TSS Podcast number 8. And today I am joined by the man, the myth, the legend, Fino, the best voice in the FGO community. Seriously, Fino, I think the first time that I heard one of your videos, I was just like, there's no way that this guy is not some sort of like professional radio host, voice actor, something, because I was just like, wow, this guy could just read me the phone book and I would be like, yeah, okay, all right, I'm in it to win it for this one. Let's go through this phone book. But for those of you who may or may not know Fino, he is a national treasure, and you should know Fino. Like, seriously, it's interesting because I'll be on like the Facebook groups or something like that, and then people will just be like, oh man, does anybody watch Fino? And I'm like, yeah, he's a national treasure. I'm like literally posting as my as my page Shogun, and I'm like, no, seriously, just like go watch Fino. He's still in the woods somewhere, so yeah, for those of you who don't know, just pause this video right now, go down to the description and just head over to his channel, subscribe, and then come back and then unpause it so that you can listen to the rest of this. But yeah, so how we normally do this is I'm gonna let you introduce yourself, Fino. Tell me how you got into being a Fate Grand Order content creator.
Oh geez, it's a long story. Well, first of all, I'm Fino, sometimes known as Fino Tyson when Fino's not available. But yeah, so I got into Fate Grand Order. I think I learned about it from Tumblr of all places, because I used to be pretty active on there, and like a bunch of my friends started playing.
Were you looking for like Fate lewds? Is that what you came across on Tumblr?
Well, yes. No, but like yeah, I think back in the day I was big into Kantai Collection, which is sort of like the thematically it's like the proto Azure Lane. Yeah. And I got so fucking sick of that game. I was like, I love this game, but this game is doing everything in its power to make me hate it. And so I was like, you know what? Fuck it. New mobile game. And so I saw these people playing Fate Grand Order, and like it was a pretty involved process because it was only FGO JP back then. So I had to like jump through a bunch of hoops to get like a Japanese iTunes account, and then I had to like download it with I forget if it was QApp or something, but I had to jump through a lot of hoops to play FGO JP to play a game that I couldn't fucking read. So, but I liked it. I took a liking to it, and I stuck with it. And eventually, I decided, you know what? I want to make some videos about this, because I've had a gaming channel on YouTube for a while, but it was sort of like the sideshow to my anime channel, even though now it's reversed and like my gaming channel is the big one and the anime channel is just sort of like a sideshow. Which is actually kind
of actually sad, because I really enjoy your anime channel. So I actually found your anime channel through your gaming channel when I was listening to you talk about Fate Grand Order, and then I was like, oh man, I'm gonna go check out this guy's anime channel as well, because I absolutely dig this voice and I want to hear him tell me about anime. So that's
awesome.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. But that seems to be kind of like what happens to a lot of people sometimes, is you start one channel and then you're like, oh man, you know what, I'm gonna make this side channel to do this thing that I like, and then the side channel becomes their main one. So
yeah, out of curiosity, what was the anime video you ended up on?
Oh man, it was a while back. I will actually, you know what, you keep talking and I'm gonna go look real quick.
Fair enough. All right, so yeah, it's the sort of thing where I made I was making random video stuff like Kantai Collection, like FF14, playing random visual novels. It was just like a mishmash of random crap. But then at one point I decided, you know what? Like FGO NA is about to come out, and I'm like, this is a good opportunity for me to actually to put together a video about FGO. And I decided, you know what? I'm gonna make a video on like, top 10 tips for new FGO players. Like, you just sort of collect my experience from JP and be like, okay, this is what you can do to have like a smooth start on NA. And the video actually, by like FGO tuber standards, it blew up on Reddit, and it was huge for me. But here's the thing,
and that's
like,
really surprised because a lot of times people on Reddit absolutely hate any FGO YouTubers. Like anytime I see like an FGO YouTuber mentioned, like 9 times out of 10, well, actually, unless it's you, people are like, oh my god, I absolutely hate that person with every fiber of my being. So
yeah, I think I got in good with them after the that weird, like, I think like back then I did like ultra short event guides. I'm talking like sub 5 minutes, and then like I think my record was like the first Valentine's event guide, which was like 2 minutes long. And then once someone made a post about that, and that also helped me quite a bit.
oh yeah, no, okay, because I remember that one, because actually that was, I think, how I found your channel, because you made that super quick one where you threw a whole bunch of was, I think it was you or maybe it was somebody else, but threw some shade at the very beginning about how everybody else was making these like 15-20 minute videos. And I remember somebody was like, oh hey, look, somebody linked like your video in it, because I forget how long mine was, but it was in there with like G&A, Not a Whale, me, and like somebody else. And I'm like, man, who is this guy throwing shade? And then I watched it, I'm like, oh man, I really like this guy's voice. I'm like, that was funny.
Oh,
that's
I remember.
cool.
I believe it was like Arbiter of Whim, who was like doing a comparison of like all the all the event guide links and stuff like that.
Right, right. And then people thought that he was you.
Mm. Yeah, it's one of those things like where I tend to make much shorter videos than like other FGO tubers, and that's just because of the way I'm used to doing things on like Anime Elimination, because I'm used to being like, okay, like how do we make, how do I analyze this concisely, quickly, like, and weird thing is, like, a part of that stems from me being just like fucking atrocious at like delivering scripted content, which, maybe that doesn't come through so much nowadays on the channels, but back in the day it was fucking terrible. Like you could still hear some of that in like the top 10 tips video, just sort of like the weird stilted delivery. Like, it drives me nuts. I hate that video now, even though it was pretty big for me.
So one of the things for me is, like, when I first started, I actually didn't ever have scripts. I actually don't think that I started scripting any of my content until like when was it? You know what? Actually, it was probably like around this time, maybe last year. But like all of my beginning videos, I literally just read. And the thing is I didn't know how to edit, and I didn't have any editing software. So a lot of it was me building scenes in OBS and then just working through what I was going to say for about an hour and a half, and then going through clicking transitions from scene to scene in OBS, and then doing about 40 takes, because I would get almost to the end and then I would just absolutely mess up whatever it was that I was trying to say. And that was really super brutal. But I think that, it really doesn't come across that you have a hard time delivering scripted content, because I mean, like, your guides now are very good. They have that good mix of voice, memes, information. And that's the cool thing about making content, is that, everybody kind of grows as you do it more. And by the way, it was the Hunter x Hunter Ultimate Anime Elimination that was the first one, because I absolutely love that series. By the way, do you call it Hunter Hunter or Hunter x Hunter?
I call it Hunter Hunter.
Gross. Okay, continue.
I see. This is the fatal rift.
That's fine. It's fine. Everybody's entitled to their wrong opinion. But no, so that's it is really cool how people have evolve over the time of creating content. Now, one of the things, like, getting onto your anime channel, do you ever feel like you what am I trying to say here? Do you ever feel like your anime channel should be bigger or get more views than your FGO content? Do you ever feel like, man, I wish that this video that I put a bunch of work into on my anime channel did as good as, you know, this shit post that I put on my FGO channel, or me wasting money on gacha?
Sometimes, but you know, at the same time, I get the reality that you know that the like certain types of content are going to be more in vogue than others. You know, and right now FGO is on the up and up, so you know, I fully expect that to sort of be like the leading edge of my content.
Yeah, I feel the other thing too is that it might be hard getting into anti-tubing. I think that's what it's called, right? Anime YouTubers anti-tubing, because everyone does it. There's so many people that are, you know, throwing in their opinion on you know, insert whatever, you know, new anime, Goblin Slayer, Shield Hero, Tiny Fairy, Snow Princess Sugar. There's like 500 reviews for every single episode of every single anime that's out there. And realistically, I know that there's a lot more of us now than there used to be, but really, like a year ago, there were only a handful of us actually making Fate Grand Order content, and it's, you know, it's really interesting to see that it has grown a little bit, but it's still not really like huge. There's not you know, 500 people making Fate Grand Order content, so it's interesting to be in that niche, you know.
Yeah, I think when we got into it, like, or just before, like the big one was Not a Whale, and then you know what happened to him. Yeah, so I actually think timing wise, we you know, we made out like bandits because we came in right as like the big guy sort of took himself out.
Yeah, and you know,
there was like this big audience that was already developing, and so we were in a position to you know, like make content for them.
Right, exactly. And that's one of the kind of cool things is that I know, at least personally, I see a lot of the same people commenting on my videos that comment on your videos, that comment on Kay's videos, that comment on Chaldea Gurus, Toho GNA, you know, stuff like that. It's all you know, it's all a really big tight, cool community, and like everybody seems to be, you know, pretty much just subscribed to everybody, and that's kind of the nice thing about having a smaller, like, niche game in a way, is that, you know, everybody does kind of feel like we're all just part of the same big group, you know.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I know that you also stream on the T Word, the YouTube altar, which we can't mention over here. I'm gonna give Arc FGO credit for that one, because he came up with that on the last podcast, that we call it YouTube altar. But so I know that over there you're very much a variety streamer. There's sometimes that I'll come in there and you'll be playing, you know, super old school Armored Core. Other times you're playing, you know, I think, what's the next one, Warhammer 40K. Is that the RTS that they're making you play?
Oh, the one I'm playing this weekend is Asian Mythology.
Oh, okay. I thought I saw the picture of you having to play Warhammer 40K, which I was going to be pretty hype about. Yeah. Man, I loved that RTS, but the thing is is there any particular reason why you do not upload those to your gaming channel?
Well, the short answer is I kind of do, but I understand that most of my audience is there to watch me play, or is to watch my Fate Grand Order stuff. So out of respect for that, I try to avoid like putting in like, you know, really long videos when I can. Sometimes I do, like I put in long plays of stuff like fucking school days, but you know, like you know, it's part of my strategy. I want to, you know, keep my you know, have my fingers in multiple pies. Like I get that FGO is ascending right now, and you know, my audience is here for that. But at the same time, I want to, you know, I want to diversify. I don't want to have all my eggs in one basket. So I sort of have like a drip feed of non-FGO content there as well. Like it tends to be highlights, because you know, people who are here for FGO stuff are more likely to watch like a 30-second God Hand highlight than they are to watch like a 30-minute God Hand Let's Play, for instance.
Okay, yeah, no, and I mean,
It,
I can respect that. One of the things that I personally do, and one of the things that like my strategy is with my channel, is that I try to keep it to pretty much just gotcha games, because I feel like, if they're here for FGO, they're not going to be against watching Epic 7 because it's also has animated waifus. They're probably going to be into like Azure Lane, because once we basically dip our foot into the gotcha hell that is FGO, pretty much everything else looks like the best thing you have ever eaten, because of just how bad the rates and everything are. So that's one of the things for me anyways. And I understand, like, I totally get you with the whole keeping your finger in different pies, and always having something new, because I know for me sometimes, like, I used to play like a lot of Ark and like 7 Days to Die and stuff like that, and realistically, like, I haven't actually played either of those in a long time, because I'm always playing another gotcha game. Like, even if I were to quit Azure Lane and Epic 7 right now, I would probably just replace those with two brand new gotcha games, and it would actually probably be Battle Cats, because Battle Cats is one of the best games that I've played in a long time. It is it's absolutely hilarious, and yeah, that's why actually I started up the First Impressions Fridays series that I do, just so I can play something that isn't my core three games. So it gives me a little bit of freshness, and I get to, and sometimes my Discord does pick like very terrible cringy games that they make me play, and that's always a lot of fun.
What's the worst mobile game that you've ever been forced to play?
Ninja Girls Reborn. It was super terrible. The translations were really bad. It was the most bootlegged Chinese mobile game that I think I've ever put onto a device before. It was pretty bad. I think the only game that would rival it that I have played is Dream Girlfriend, and that game was just brutally boring. Like, there was just nothing really to do, like, at all. Food Fantasy was fun. I enjoyed Food Fantasy, mostly because you got to beat bulimia and anorexia. Like, we just solved it. I was like, all right, chat, easy clap, man. We have solved world hunger. Bulimia is no longer a thing, and we solved anorexia, no problem, just by shooting milk at it. That's what you did. So yeah, it's it definitely being able to just play random gotcha games for like an hour and then just give it the thumbs up or thumbs down is a big win in my book. So
I see.
But so your variety stream over there, which is awesome, and that keeps yourself very fresh. Do you what is your future of the channels? Like, what do you want to go down the pathway of? Do you plan on just sticking with FGO forever, or where do you want to go?
In the midterm, I definitely expect FGO to stay the to stay as the core of my content. But in the future, I would definitely like to have a greater ratio of non-FGO games, whether they be like just sort of old nostalgic stuff like the old Armored Cores, just other anime sort of peripherally related things, other mobile games. Yeah, I definitely want to keep a mixture, like an eclectic mix perhaps of games, because it's the sort of thing where if you tie yourself to one game too heavily on YouTube, like, you'll get burned. Like, you've seen what happened to all those Minecraft streamers who were like on top of the world for like years and years, and now they're struggling to like pull in any viewers.
Right, yeah, because if the trend goes to something else and you're not on that trend and all you know is the game that you've only ever been known for, then yeah, it gets a little bit tough. That's why I think like being able to play multiple gacha games leaves me very versatile. Like if the end of FGO comes tomorrow because they just decide that they're tired of, listening to me complain and they just shut the servers down, I have the options of going over to, other gacha games. I'm not very, I mean, I am tied to FGO. It's definitely the biggest draw to my channel for sure. But, I have been trying to establish myself in the mobile game sphere as being able to play multiple games as well, which it's kind of interesting. I feel like a lot of people will start a channel and they're like, man, I'm gonna make this type of content forever, but after a little while you do kind of have to have one of those like sit downs and go, man, what am I actually planning on doing with this channel? And if you're one of those people that's like, oh well, I just want to make this game's content, and you're fine with that, then you can. But yeah, it's interesting. I'm sure that you've had the that sit down internal monologue where you go, man, what is it that I want to do with these channels? I feel like I have that on the regular.
Yeah, I definitely feel it, especially with the anime channel. But yeah, yeah, it's the sort of thing and some people get discouraged when they sort of diverge from their mainstay content, and it gets like a half, quarter, even like less in terms of views, and they stop doing it because it's not pulling in the numbers. But here's the way I see it: doing like that kind of side content, and even if it does poorly, like there is a tangible benefit to that, in that you're not. It's insurance against being pigeonholed into being like the FGO guy or like the Minecraft guy. Like when you keep a mix of games, even if like your side content does less well, you have the option of pivoting into any of those categories if they blow up. So like it's a form of insurance as I see it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And even if nothing else, it is a form of just keeping things fresh for yourself, because maybe you're making content for like another game, but then you're like, oh man, well, what if I did this for my main game that I'm playing? That would be kind of cool. Or something along those lines. It helps you diversify and keep yourself fresh, because if you're just doing the same content over and over and over again, you're going to fall into a rut. And giving yourself that chance to throw something else out there, definitely. Absolutely. Yeah. And the other thing too is I always feel like if you are going to like do that and you're going to diverge and throw like a small video that you probably think isn't going to do it very well, like you can't really be too upset when it doesn't. Like that's kind of what you're throwing out there. So for like me, I'm doing a PvP series on Epic 7. I'm not really known very much at all outside of my community for playing Epic 7, so I don't really get too much in the way of views on those, but I have a lot of fun making them. And I think that at the end of the day, a lot of us started the game of making videos to have fun. And I don't know, man, I've got enough jobs that I don't want to like switch it over to feel like work. I feel like that,
I feel you.
So, I know that
that's always the end goal. It's to find something that you enjoy doing, that makes a reasonable amount of money, and that you can do on the regular without burning out.
Yeah. I don't know why anybody would pick YouTube though, because reasonable amount of money and YouTube are not two things. I wish that I made like a tenth of the money that people on the internet think that I make, because hot damn, man, I would be rolling for way more waifus than I do now. But that's
I mean, really, like what we need to do is head on over to D Live and get some of that PewDiePie money.
Dude, yeah, no, exactly. Like I will give out some epic bro fists and sub to PewDiePie for some of that 50 grand that he is dropping. I actually, on the topic of D Live, I was watching some interesting videos on on that, and the both sides of whether or not it will be good or if it's just like a pyramid scam on the people who own the blockchain. Just like they literally own all of it, and you're just giving them money for an intangible thing that they own. So it's interesting. I definitely have an account over there. They actually reached out to me a while ago with an email, and I was like, I have no idea what this is. I'm like, I can't stream better than like 480p on anything else. So yeah. But who knows, it'll be interesting to see like how if that shakes anything up. I know BitChute tried to do it. There's a couple other sites that have tried to do things like that, and YouTube just keeps on being YouTube, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I hope it does well enough to keep YouTube and Twitch on their toes, because having more competition definitely gets us better terms as streamers.
Oh, absolutely. Do you ever use Restream to stream multiple platforms at the same time?
I'm a Twitch affiliate, so I can't without breaking terms.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's right. I forget about that sometimes. Mostly because I do see a lot of like Twitch affiliates doing that. But how close are you to partner?
I've applied once, got turned down, but there were a bunch of other people who applied around the same time as me who started getting approved in their second run. So I have hope. I'm gonna reapply fairly soon.
Awesome, dude. I applied once, and then I got shut down pretty quick, and so I didn't actually really care that much because I wasn't planning on like making streaming my main focus, because for me, like, as much as I like streaming, I put so much work into my YouTube channel that if I just flipped the switch and said, sorry guys, I'm not making videos very much anymore, I'm just going to stream all the time, I would feel like I was kind of betraying all of that work that I put into my channel to build it up to where it was. So that's where I'm kind of at on that one.
Well, thankfully, one of the advantages of streaming on YouTube versus Twitch is that you can convert your produced video audience into a live audience fairly quickly and fairly efficiently.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And I definitely know that whenever I go live on YouTube, I definitely get a lot more viewers than I do if I go live over on Twitch. Now, I guess it really depends on, what it is that I'm streaming, because apparently like 700 people enjoyed watching me stand in a line for merchandise at the FGO tour, not really moving much or seeing anything other than a sea of Asian guys wearing black hoodies, which was funny because there was one guy who was like, oh yeah, no, I'll be the Asian guy wearing all black, and I'm like, that'll be real easy, really easy to find at this convention. But yeah. So do you ever get out to any conventions to see the FGO presence at conventions?
I haven't been to any conventions recently. It's been years. Like I went to AX and ASEN once each. And,
okay.
I think I went to PAX East once. Just not a huge convention guy. Although if I someday I'd like to get back on the circuit. But for the time being, I'm sort of cutting back.
Fair enough. One of the things that I bring up a lot is that for a really, really long time, you would always see some Fate cosplay at conventions, but it wasn't really anything outside of like, Emiya, Archer, Rin, Saber. That's pretty much it. Every so often you would see like maybe something outside of that sphere, like a Nero or something like that. But ever since FGO hit the beaches of North America, it has exploded. Like, I can't go to a convention and not see an obscure Fate Grand Order character. It is actually kind of like really mind-blowing, because like you'll see people that are cosplaying from things that are on JP, and that's very not typical. So usually like people will cosplay things that are semi-current. So when you see like a Sherlock or a Saber Fran, you know, currently it's like, oh wow, that's actually really awesome. And you know, usually those people, if I see like a Berserker Nobu, I'm just like, oh man, I'm gonna go talk to this cosplayer, because only real fans cosplay as Berserker Nobu. So that is always really kind of cool. So now, how do you feel about Babylonia coming before Camelot in terms of release?
It's odd, but you know, given how much of a, you know, how much of a Rube Goldberg machine anime production is, I'm not surprised. I have to admit it's a bit of an odd situation, but I guess they're not really going to sit on it if it's done before the other.
Well, so I mean, they've stated, I believe, that they're going to release Babylonia before Camelot. The other thing too that kind of concerns me a little bit about that, though, is that they said that they want to make it so that people who have never played the game can understand what's going on. And I feel like they're going to run into the trap of either, hey, we think that you're going to be able to understand what's going on with this really brief flashback, like the first Heaven's Feel movie, which pretty much just left my friends who had never really gotten super far into Fate going, what's going on? I have no clue what's going on here. Or they're going to spend half of the movie and or series doing flashbacks for the other singularities that you have no real basis of understanding for. And it also kind of like bugs me a little bit, because how are they going to put Gramps in? Like, he's just going to show up and be like, hey, what's going on? I'm doing some cool stuff, without like his background, like intro from Camelot, where you're just like, oh, hey, this guy, I'm going to NP5.
Now, I haven't been keeping super close track. Which one's the movie and which one's the series, or are they both movies?
Camelot is the movie, Babylonia is the series.
Okay, well, I could definitely see them, you know, sort of diluting it with flashback episodes, although I'd certainly rather they didn't.
Yeah, no, I'm never a big fan of flashback episodes or like extensive like story, like that's how they're telling the story in general. And
like with info dumps and shit.
Yeah, like I understand that they did the poll on what they wanted to see animated. Of course, Babylonia and Camelot are going to win over things like Septum or Orleans.
I'm kind of surprised, honestly. I thought Septum had a real chance.
You know, for a hot second there, like at the very beginning of you saying that sentence, I was like, man, maybe he remembers something that I didn't remember. And then like I heard the dripping sarcasm there at the end, and I'm like, Fino, you jebaited me, bamboozled.
Honestly, what I would love to see are some of the events turned into like OVAs or something.
Oh my god, yeah, so that would be amazing. Yeah, absolutely. You know, I would like to see the brave heroine Ellie Chan's adventure like as an RPG anime, like style anime. You know, that would be really sweet. There's a lot of really good writing in a lot of the events that that we'll just never probably see in anime, or Strange Fake. Like, when are we getting that as an anime? Yeah. But
I just hope that when the FGO side content gets turned into an anime, it's turned into like a proper TV series and not like one of those 3-minute anime. Like
yeah.
Anime.
Yeah, I always like some of them are okay, but like I always feel like there's just not enough when it's like the super short form anime. I'm like, I just want more of this. Can you just make like a whole ass episode? Like, I need more than 5 minutes. But The thing with like the Fate Grand Order anime is I feel like with them starting at Babylonia and doing Camelot, not talking about any of the other ones, I feel like they really missed out on a good chance of just like having semi-short OVAs of each of the singularities. Like, you don't need to spend a ton of time on Orleans. Like, Fiyuki was really quick, you know, with the Fate Grand Order First Order anime. Like, you could just do really quick OVAs, Moonlight Lost Room, stuff like that for all of the singularities. I actually would like to have seen a long series version of like the America Singularity, because I really like the America Singularity.
That I think had potential. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
You
like,
know,
the ones before that, I'm a little wary on, because like, you know, like Septum, Orleans, and London were fairly weak in the writing department, if I'm going to be brutally honest.
Yeah.
So I think those they could get away with dealing in sort of like very, very quick flashbacks or through implication. But like America, yeah, I agree. I think that one actually had potential to be a series.
Yeah, I just wanted to see the Preza King animated. That's actually one of the things that I would really have liked to have seen. Plus, you know, Maeve and Ku Alter, the whole Karna Arjuna thing would have been really good. Plus, I feel like America was like one of the times where we like the story started ramping up, because it's like, oh boom, now you've got Camelot, now you've got Babylonia, story's getting like hella serious now, boys, you know.
Yeah, and there's definitely scenes in America that would benefit from being an anime. Like, you know, you remember the part where Nero Bride is like, yeah, I'm going to fight Kualter. Oh, no, I'm dead. Like, you know, that is really lame.
Yeah.
But as like an animated episode, as like a proper fight, I think that'd be pretty good.
I would actually, now I'm just picturing it as an anime fight where it is literally just that, though. She's like, I'm going to fight you. And then he's like, and then she's like, oh, no, now I'm dead. It like takes like all of like 30 seconds, and it's like, all right, and on to the next one.
That could be the 3-minute CG version.
Yeah, exactly. So one of the things like I've been talking to people about, what type moon crossover do you want to see with Fate Grand Order?
Tsukihime.
All right. Well, I mean, that's usually a pretty big go-to. A lot of people just immediately go to that. I really want a Carnival Phantasm.
That'd be cool. I'd be down with that.
Yeah, Berserker would be a writer, obviously.
Absolutely.
But I think that see, I don't know, like for me personally, like the stories that I like enjoy the most in Fate is the just off the wall, just kind of funny stories. Like when we do get the events and stuff like that, I like the ones that are just chocked full of like memery and puns, because you know, yeah, the series as a whole is pretty dark, and I like, you know, normies exploding.
Yeah, they've definitely done a better job. Like I think the localization, especially for FGO, and it can be a little on the nose sometimes with the memes, but otherwise I think they're pretty decent at it. I like it.
Yeah, no, they've been doing a pretty okay job when it comes to translations, that is. I obviously have my opinions on some of the other things that the localization team does, but that aside, you know, it'll be interesting to see what happens when Nasu actually does step down from being a main story creator and kind of handing over the project to other people, because you obviously immediately went to Tsukihime. It would be really, really amazing to see like an actual remake of Tsukihime. I would love to see more things like come back from like the olden times to kind of bring more people that just started with Fate Grand Order or Apocrypha or Zero to really kind of bring a lot more of that back in, because I'm not a huge Nasuverse nerd. I love the stuff and I love listening to people talk about it, like Tasaya and Otaku Daikun. I think there's like one or two, Manpig. When they start talking about like all of the crazy Nasuverse stuff and lore, I'm just like, oh my goodness, this is so cool. But I've never been able to like delve into it as deep as I would like to, so it'd be kind of cool to see them bring some of that stuff more towards this newer group of people that have been jumping into the Type Moon pool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, hopefully, once Lost Belt ends on JP, they'll reveal that FGO 3.0 is actually really just Sugihime too. That I would love to see.
That would be interesting. I think that they're just going to do a whole Mash was the actual bad guy all along, and then you're going to have to fight Mash Alter. I actually just really want a sprite and a character design for Mash Alter. Like, I've seen fan made ones, and I'm just like, oof, yeah, please be the main bad guy of an event or something, please, because it is good. But yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Fate, because I know that I think they said in the interview where everybody was losing their minds because they thought that Nasi was just going to quit and the game was just going to die after he quit. But I think they said that they have like 6 or 7 years worth of potential content moving forward with the game.
I mean, they have plenty of writers to draw on besides just Nasu.
Yeah, and I think that actually, like, him stepping down and going on to other projects allows for other people to flourish, because if you only have one person writing, you never get to see other people's stories. So we get to see some of it in events and stuff like that, but it'd be nice to see some of them potentially step up and write a main story and just see what they can do. Maybe we will maybe this is the era of Sakura faces instead of Saber faces. It seems like it,
Dude, I for one would love to see Nisio Isin as the main writer, so we can all sit in a room and like watch like 30 hours of dialogue straight for every event.
Yeah, and then you'd still have people though that would just skip through everything, and then you'd be like, I don't understand this. How do I beat this? What is the point of this thing? What am I doing with this? And I enjoy the people that do that though when they play JP. Like, one of my favorite things to do is troll through the Facebook groups to see the people who are playing JP and have no idea where to find the translations or how to like beat anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was definitely one of the rougher parts about playing on FGO JP at the start, is that like I understood nothing, and like the few things I could get, I had to piece together from like the various subreddits, and like it was kind of a rough time. But,
yeah, no, I mean, I actually know the like UI and everything like that, and I tried playing on JP one time, and I was just like, I have literally no idea what I'm looking at right now, and I don't know why I'm doing any of this stuff. King Protea is absolutely adorable, but I'm gonna go back to my game that I can read. So
yeah, honestly, at this point, I primarily play JP to scout ahead and collect footage in advance for NA content.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I don't have the energy to maintain both accounts to like the full power. So I kind of sandbag on JP. I'm really lazy. Like, I have like 500 apples on JP. It's kind of absurd.
Well, I mean, don't they just like give you like 500 apples every time you log in, along with your like 100 Saint Quartz and like free SSRs?
I just don't spend them. So I'm just sitting on like this increasing horde of apples, just filling up every room in Chaldea. It's pretty absurd.
Yeah, I heard that like if they have nice weather in JP, they just give you guys like 30 Saint Quartz for no reason.
Dude, I just got like 100 today because they did an update that gives you quartz for complete interludes.
Oh yeah, no, I was looking at the chart and it was like if you did everything, you got like 190 Saint Quartz.
It's fucking absurd.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh, okay, cool. Now I will say something, like a lot of times whenever your like JP server gets like an update like yesterday, you will see people that are like, oh, they got 190 Saint Quartz, where's my 20 Saint Quartz for my anniversary? Now, I mean, I'm cool with that because that's like 2 years out from now. But how do you feel? Because I know this is a big point of contention among a lot of people in like the FGO community. How do you feel about the vocal people that feel like North America is getting shafted over JP?
I haven't done the accounting myself, so I don't know exactly where we stand on the total amount of quartz that we've gotten relative to how much JP had at the same point in time. But I'll say this just from what I've seen. A lot of the people who complain about NA getting shafted tend to miss a couple of things, including that we got like the cheaper rolls, the updated the updated master missions. We got a couple some really big quality of life updates long before JP did, and that's a big part of that cuts a big part of the gap between the two servers in terms of quartz given. Aside from that, I do think NA has some legitimate gripes, especially in terms of scheduling. But
yeah, I mean, who thinks that
by
putting
and large, I think
half AP trading grounds in the middle of Gouda Gouda is a good idea?
Yeah, that's not very cool.
I was just like, really, you guys thought that was good? Like, they could have put it during the pre-campaign and it would have been perfectly fine, because like I have next to nothing to do for the next 2 weeks until CCC comes, or Seraph comes out. I mean, I guess I've got 2 weeks now to make a guide, but you know, yeah, it is.
I'd be okay with.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, okay, I'll go. Like I'm okay with FGO, like if it took like a slightly faster pace than JP did, so that at some point in the distant future we'll catch up. But I definitely want to avoid like an Azure Lane situation where we just get events back to back to back to back, because that's so rough.
Oh no, it 100% is, and the downside with like Azure Lane events is they're not very quick to finish. They're
Absolutely.
very, very grindy. Thankfully you can
have like 5 times.
Yeah, thankfully you can like auto most of it, so the amount of effort you really got to put in sometimes isn't like the most effort, and that's how I can usually play like the 3 games at the same time, because you can pretty much auto farm Azure Lane and Epic 7. But I agree with you in that I would like to catch up a little bit. One of the big things with me is that I know that if they ever do shutter the doors for FGO, if they decide, hey, we're gonna just focus on this next game or whatever, like they're not gonna spend the resources to continue to translate the game for 2 more years with everybody knowing that the game is just gonna be done. Because if it was like, oh hey, you've got a year left until we just done with this game, like I can't imagine anybody just being like, oh yeah, no, I literally want to throw my money into the void.
I think they could do it for a time, because there have definitely been worse managed games on North America. Like you hear what happened to Rage of Bahamut, right?
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, like the players of that game put up with some pretty fucked up shit.
Yeah,
from the developers. So I think if FGO did shutter, I think we'd have something like we'd have I dare say perhaps a graceful decline if that did happen.
Yeah, no, and I mean it's interesting because like a lot of global games either just start you out where everybody else is currently, or they put things like they do in Azure Lane, and it's just back to back to back to back events until you're caught up. And I know like Azure Lane, a lot of other servers are getting reruns while we're getting the initial version, which makes it so that every server's kind of getting the same thing. And I think from like a developer standpoint, that's actually probably a lot easier, because they can just go, yeah, cool, here, everybody gets the same thing at the same time, except for North America, you guys just don't get this 1 or 2 ships. So, but it'll be interesting to see what happens with FGO if we ever catch up, if Albert just decides to quit and then we just no longer have fake Grand Order in North America. Yeah,
I would definitely be sad to see FGO go early if it ever did happen. but at the same time, I'm accustomed to games I like going down the shitter. Like, it happened with Modern Warfare 2. It kind of happened with League of Legends. So, I'll just do as I usually do and adapt. It'd be sad, but I have contingencies.
Yeah, and that's why I play like, 7 gacha games at the same time. I could just move over to Food Fantasy and just continue to fight the good fight against bulimia and anorexia.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean, realistic, let's be real. I don't think Fate Grand Order is going anywhere, considering they're the second highest grossing game in the world.
Yeah, there'd have to be some serious mismanagement for that to change.
Yeah, no, they've definitely been declining a bit in the North American market. So like I've been really getting into looking at how various mobile games and stuff like that track in the market. So I've been kind of watching it. Now that's probably due to the fact that not too many people were super interested in Hijikata. A lot of people are probably saving up for like Seraph, Summer, stuff like that. So it definitely dipped a little bit. I was really surprised to see that it was almost like 200 spots below Love Nikki Dress Up Queen. And, so it's like, hey, North American PR team that doesn't exist, you guys might want to step your game up when, games like Candy Crush. Well, no, Candy Crush Saga is a bit more casual and, caters to middle-aged housewives named Susan more so than waifu collectors. But it's interesting to see just how Fate Grand Order does in the North American market, and where they have room to grow. Because
if I can make a prediction, I think the rest of this year, up until like I'd say up until about late this year, like early late fall, early winter, it's going to be fairly rough, because I recall Epic of Remnant not necessarily doing all that well in terms of selling waifus.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if you think about it, we have Raiko coming. Well, I mean, obviously people are going to be rolling on Seraph, but after that, we've got Raiko. We got a little bit of time off. I don't think, well, some people roll for Penth, but not like a overwhelming amount. And then we have Summer, which this summer with the rerun and this summer's Servants is going to be pretty good. I mean, heck, I'm going to make a big spike on their chart just by myself on the summer banners this year. So dude, I have to NP5 literally the whole first banner.
Jesus Christ, really?
Yeah. I have to NP5 Nidacris Assassin. I have to NP5 Berserker Nobu. I have to NP5 Saberfran, and I'd like to NP5 Caster Nero, but we'll see how much my bank account is hurting after that. By the way, guys, make sure that you're not using ad block. Patreon's down in the description. I do take offers of just Google Play cards mailed to my house too. That would be fantastic.
Briefcases filled with $100 bills also works.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if I have to make a lewd tier on my Patreon, we can talk about that too. But it's tough. I actually blame all of my gacha spending on the channel, because if I didn't have all of these people asking me if I'm going to NP5 stuff, I totally wouldn't do this. It's just massive peer pressure. That's what I say.
Nah, I get you. Yeah, I realized that if I were to go down the roll hole, I would be burning so much cash. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna, for each game I play, I'm just gonna establish a list of characters I want and just sort of stick to that whenever I can.
Yeah, and that's actually a good idea, instead of just rolling willy-nilly on everything and black screen glitching your way when you start getting, so you don't get salty, you just keep pulling until you get whatever character it is, and then you win at the end of the day. Luck be damned when you have unlimited budget works.
True. Yeah, it's a lot easier on your wallet, and it's a lot easier on your sanity.
Oh yeah, no, and it's a lot easier on your blood supply, because you don't have to sell blood for waifus.
Yeah, Kidney-kun gets to live another year.
Yeah, I don't know after this Azure Lane patch that's coming up, because there's a lot of ships and skins that I'm going to have to purchase. But
is Kizuna Ai coming to North America?
What's that?
Is the Kizuna Ai event coming to North America?
Yeah,
or is that just
that's
JP?
no 100%. That is that was released to us. We're getting that. I'm excited. Awesome. Oh yeah, no, it's gonna be so good. I want her as a ship. I mean, Neps and Kizuna Ai, like, come on, those are. Azure Lane has some pretty fire collabs. I'm a big fan of those.
Dude, I'm a big fan of fucking Kizuna Ai and her trademark catchphrase where she starts shouting "fuck you."
Yeah. I actually hope that is part of the, like, I hope that her voice lines in game as a ship are just her just like yelling at enemy ships in her bad broken English, like really loud. Like, that's
like
would
if
be
they just
so
sampled
good.
all of her audio from RE7 videos, I'd be down for that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. But we're almost at about an hour, Fino. So let's do some closing remarks. If you guys didn't pause the video earlier to go subscribe to Fino on both Anime Elimination and Fino Plays, you definitely have to do that after the fact. You are also on YouTube Alter, which I won't link, but you can find on his other channels. And yeah, you can also find Fino fairly regularly in This Month in Chaldea in the woods with Nina.
Still in the woods. Like,
after I put you in there the second time, I was just like, nah, this is gonna be him forever. Like, he's literally just gonna be
I could be the hobo in the
woods with Nina. And I've even got like ideas for like further on down the road where you just like start going more and more crazy because you can't get out of the woods and you just keep running into Nina. And yeah, I think like,
I'd be down for that.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite series, is because I get to work with other content creators and bring like some extra flair to it. But actually I skipped out on this month's mostly because I have a big This Month in Chaldea for the Seraph event, so that one should be pretty cool. But we could keep talking forever, Fino, but anything that you would like to say before we call this a day?
Oh geez, putting me on the spot. Let's see. Yeah, I got a couple of statements. I think they're pretty important. One, support your local Fino. Also, I've placed a curse upon the entirety of FGO, and I've said that we're never getting Muramasa before Arcade. So, look forward to that. Now it's on video. And yeah, no, now that I've shared that juicy tidbit, that's all I got.
All right, cool deal. And I actually hope that Muramasa never comes and everybody just like tries to theory craft that he's going to be in the next thing and then just totally gets blown out every single time, because
I just want Arcade, man.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But anyways, man, it was a super fun time talking to you, and yeah, we'll have to do this again sometime.
Absolutely, I'd be down. Thanks for having me on, dude.
Yeah, no problem. All right, everyone, I will catch you guys on the next one. Take it easy. Peace.